There was a cri de coeur from Deputy Head Teacher Dave Bowyer. He hankered for something that's missing from the HLC, something that he thought should have been included in the design.
We do need a briefing because, Paul, it's not going to come as a surprise to you, but it's a plea. Can we have a staff room? The only time I ever get to see staff is when I see them in briefing. I can see them as I walk around the staff bases, but there is nowhere that we meet as a staff, and I think we miss out on an awful lot. I know what you're going to say, but...
I'm just saying that the building was not designed as a staff room. That was a decision that was taken before I was involved. And the money went into providing staff workroom bases where faculty teams could work either as a group or with other people. And my own experience of staff rooms, I have to say, is not a positive one, simply because they're not used for a great amount of time during the day. And I just think they can be a ferment of negativity at times, but that's just my own perception.
I would say the opposite. I would say it's a place where you can get rid of your frustrations, where there's always someone there to pick you up, brush you down and send you back out with a spring in your step, and that's been my...
There is no physical space.
Well, there is, because I can tell you about that some other time, but there is.
What do other people think?
It's all to do with relationships, and I don't think this year that we've yet got the relationship right between students and staff and staff and staff.
I can't honestly... I mean, I am not sure that I see the benefit of having a staff room, but that's just my own thoughts about it. I'm quite happy to open it out to discussion.
Well, could I suggest that this might not be appropriate to take this any further at this point in the afternoon?
Consider the issue parked for a while, Mr. Bowyer. The Bridge School is a key element of the HLC campus. It's for children with profound learning difficulties.
Legs or tummies? Where? Tummy!
The old Bridge School had desperate accommodation problems, which the head teacher would rather forget.
I often look at the old film of the old building, just to remind myself how narrow those corridors were, because it's a bit like childbirth. You forget the pain. And this is fundamentally one of the greatest things about the school, is the circulation. And that just is so important to the children and young people, because they have room to move around.
The new Bridge School provides 21st century facilities. There are spacious teaching bases. Today it's a travel and tourism class for older students.
Can you spot something that is up like this, and it's very famous, and it lives in France? Can you spot it on there?
Spot it on the poster.
There are white rooms with sophisticated sensory equipment. And soft play areas for therapy and learning.
Oh, good standing.
But there was a sense of shock and awe to deal with when staff first moved in.
This is a very technologically rich school with lots of facilities, and I think staff felt they had to be able to use it all at once. Half a term it took to say, hang on, we don't expect you to do everything at once. So, the development plan for this school this year is very, very thin. It is about staff getting to understand the technology that drives the specialist equipment within the school.
Integration with the mainstream is very important, and students from the Bridge are often seen in the primary and secondary buildings. The pool is a very popular facility. And the gridlock when trying to get 30 minibuses on and off the premises twice a day is now a distant memory.
We'd have to queue up, wouldn't we, Derry, for about half an hour, 9 till half 9. Yeah. We're here now for 9 o'clock, gone by 10 past 9. So quick, much, much better.
For the first term at the HLC, the primary phase was housed in the old buildings of Hadley Infant School and Hadley Junior School. But immediately a cross-phase curriculum was introduced. 2 primary staff taught maths and English in Year 7, and 18 secondary teachers taught 32 hours a week in Key Stage 2.
Buenos dias. Good day, good morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
In January 2007, primary children finally moved into the new facility, and the old schools were demolished. Having primary and secondary pupils closer together has made cross-phase teaching much easier.
Mostly what happens is the children come into secondary phase to receive their specialist lessons, and that's worked very, very well. And what it has meant is that a lot of our secondary teachers have got to know primary teachers very, very well, and there's a shared understanding of how the children work, and we're sharing curriculum ideas and innovations and so on. And that's very unique in the country. And I still, when I do go out talking, that's one of the things that people like to hear, because there's a great move, I think, towards co-location of primary and secondary schools.
As well as building on cross-phase teaching, Paul wants to see much more personalisation of the curriculum.
All children here will continue, obviously, to do English, maths, science and ICT as their core subjects, but if they identify that they're particularly interested in one area of work, I will try to allow them to major in that. And I think education is going that way anyway. Diplomas will be in the school, I think probably in 2009. Some children will be spending the equivalent of 2 days a week majoring in one aspect of a curriculum, and this is a way in which I think the school is starting to mould itself within that framework.
The HLC has a professional dance studio. Paul's introducing a new vocational BTEC dance course, which will mean some Year 11 students dropping science.
These girls have not had dance before. Some of them have done bits outside of school, but I've only had them since September, and the amount that they've achieved is unbelievable. Mr. Topham takes a lot of interest in adolescents. He comes in, sees them dance, and he can see himself how much they've progressed. They're dead keen, they come after school almost every day, they come lunch times. I think him seeing that himself persuaded him that it would be a good idea for him to do this BTEC, and so that in the long run maybe I will turn towards BTEC rather than doing GCSE at all.
For these children, dance may well become part of their career aspirations, and I want them to gain as much accreditation as they can when we're in school. They're very interested in dance, they dance very well. And in terms of personalisation, I just think they have a better curriculum diet if they do more dance and less science. Now, there's an argument you've got to win the scientists over on that, because they're losing children out of their subject area. But I'm committed to trying to find those ways of personalising curriculum so that we play to children's strengths as they go through the school.
We're going to be doing 13 hours in 2 weeks.
Well, my dad was he said that he didn't really want me to quit science, but then I sort of persuaded him, so he said yeah at the end. And he was like, well, if you really want to do it, then you can.
Staff and students at the HLC have been pleased with their new learning environments, and there have been few complaints about the design. That is, apart from some local difficulties. There are some areas of the school that get too hot. The cafe bar downstairs has been roasting, and the head of secondary's office and the area outside have suffered from radiant heat coming in from skylights and windows that don't open. At times, rooms have been too hot for students to use.
Those things are embarrassing, and we're suffering from overheating in school buildings continually now. How do you actually create a learning environment that's cool all year round, despite the fact that it's 25 degrees outside? You're plugging all of these kids in there, and you're plugging in 700 laptops, kicking out all of that heat. How are you going to cool a building down in the middle of summer? Classrooms and schools, we understand that the best way of actually improving the environment for the learners is to have lots of natural daylight. Natural daylight means solar gain. Solar gain means heating the building up again. How are you going to cool that building down if it's 25 degrees outside?
Interserve are rectifying things, but say modern, highly efficient buildings pose fundamental questions about how pupils are taught.
Are you going to design your building for the hottest 6 weeks of the year? So you're going to put in air conditioning, you're going to put in a lot of extract fans, you're going to have a very high energy usage, a very unsustainable building, or are you going to change your practices? Are you going to have a different curriculum that doesn't mean people have to sit in sweaty boxes in the middle of summer? Could you, for instance, start your school day earlier and finish earlier, so you're not actually in the school building during the hottest part of the day? We're really struggling to actually say we're going to design a school building that's going to be carbon neutral, plus it's going to have fantastic natural daylight, and you can plug all the ICT kit you like into it. It's just not going to work.
It's the last day of the first year for the HLC, and the first time that the entire school has assembled in the sports hall for prize giving. For Jill Etuff, it's an emotional culmination of 3 years' work to establish a learning community.
Times in your life when truly special things happen, and I think this afternoon for me is one of those truly special occasions, because we're here to celebrate our first year of the Hadley Learning Community, and I am absolutely amazed that we've done it. Give yourselves a round.
One month later, the 23rd of August, GCSE Results Day. Today, parents will find out if the HLC has reached its targets for improving performance in its first year. There'll be many who, rightly or wrongly, see a lot of significance in how well the school's done in this year's league table.
Double C in science, C in textiles.
4 C's, that's enough to get on my college course.
5 A's, 2 A stars.
Why did we concentrate like here?
Come on, Jasper, should we go there?
Jaspreet Jutler and her mum are on their way in to get her results.
Really scared, don't worry. No matter what, I'll be proud of you anyway.
Like most of her year group, Jaspreet came to the HLC from Alton Park School, halfway through her GCSE courses. Paul Topping hands out the paperwork at the end of a stressful first year in charge. But with the results better than last year's at Alton Park, Paul was able to start his summer break a happy man.
Results have been really pleasing. We did some analysis on them last night, and we've come out in the middle 50s in terms of 5 A stars to C's, which is above our target, and the other targets that we've been set, we've matched or bettered them. So I'm absolutely delighted, because it's bearing some fruit really at the end of a long, hard year's work, and of course delighted for children, because it means they've got the results they need to go on to college or to their employment.
And Jaspreet Jutler's rather happy too.
Ooh, I passed them all! 3 A's and 5 B's and 1 C. Oh, so happy, thank you!